Damn it, Dad! I told you, don't call me Junior! Darkest greetings for sci-fi and Indiana Jones fans. Drew here from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And this is the first episode after our very awesome horror movie October review series, which in my opinion this year was my favorite one. Just because the movie that we reviewed and we had like a different guest on for the series for each episode. And I really like that. And we did a Ghostbuster commentary, which was very interesting if you heard it.
It was
But
something.
yep. But anyways, guys, we're here today to review one of my favorite movies of all time. For the 35th anniversary, it's gonna be a little bum ba 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 bum ba da Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. With Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. And here to review this movie with me, the guy that just did the Sean Connery impression from Alabama, is gonna be the singing wizard himself, Jackson Harbor. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Trebek, I'll get you at last.
I love that skit so much. Who does that anyways?
It's Daryl Hammond.
Daryl
Okay.
Hannah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty legendary.
Yeah. But then for my next guest, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the Eric White. How's it going, buddy?
Going good. Glad to be here to talk some Indiana Jones.
Yep. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun review. And it's kind of cool that it's this really fun action adventure movie about people coming together
Mm.
during this really dramatic time right now. And we'll just leave it at that. We're just gonna talk about
Right.
some Indiana Jones. But
Okay.
before we get to that, like I said, it's the first episode after October. And that means that a lot of people watch a lot of horror movies this time of year.
hmm
And as per usual, we're going to talk about some horror movies that we watched in October. And I'll start with you, Eric. What are some like stuff you want to highlight?
I mean, I didn't watch a whole bunch. I mean, I did see the new Terrifier movie. It's
Mm,
fine. There's some fun bits in it. But it's too long. It's still like over 2 hours and it kind of struggles in the middle.
right.
I saw the new VHS movie, VHS Beyond.
How many of who are there now?
Oh, there's like
There's like
five or six of them.
seven.
Oh,
Holy
is it seven? Jeez,
Nikes.
yeah,
There's
there's a
a
lot of them.
bunch. There's a bunch of those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've only seen maybe
It's
two of them.
they're all about the same. It's hit
Yeah.
or miss. Some of them are pretty good. Some of the little segments are good. Some of them are bad. This one's about the same.
Mm.
There's a couple like fun ones, and there's a couple like ugh. What else did I watch? I watched Quiet Place Day One. It was
Nice.
fun. It's much better than it probably deserves to be
Mhm.
for a prequel to a movie that really didn't need a sequel or a prequel. And what else? Oh, I watched Trap. With Josh
Oh,
Hartnett.
yeah?
It's
Yeah,
I
fun.
enjoyed that.
I really
Yeah,
liked it. I don't know what people's
So
issue with it
silly,
was.
but I liked it. Yeah.
I really love like the first hour, and then
Mm.
it kind of falls apart in the last like 30 minutes. Like once they
It
leave the
becomes a
concert,
completely different movie.
Oh,
yeah,
I liked the last 30 minutes. I thought it was interesting.
I don't know.
Get a bit of his home life. I thought that was a cool twist to have like this pop star that this little girl admires.
Right.
Yeah, like
But
I think we
it's
all have that
so
fantasy. We all have that celebrity that we just obsess
sure.
over, and we wish we could just hang out with them.
It's so
Right.
weird that she just goes without any sort of like handlers or entourage though. She just gets into
Yeah,
a limo with them, and it's just like I don't know. There was just bits of it I was like,
Shyamalan. You
what?
yeah,
can't
and that's
judge the
Yeah,
logic of it too
you're right.
much.
You're right.
well,
You're
and
right.
that's M Night's daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was fine. She was a
yes,
better
but
singer than probably a performance, but
Josh
yeah, well, that's
Hartnett killing it in
oh
that
yeah, he
movie.
was. He did a really good job. Well, I
carries
like
So
carries that whole
good.
movie. Yeah.
Well, the
hmm
thing I liked about it was I liked the whole thing, the whole how it came at it, how M Night came at it, where like he was just taking his daughter to this concert, and it wasn't necessarily like him hiding out, or like he didn't know that like there was gonna be a whole big police escort, like it was gonna
hmm
be a big trap. So he didn't know. He was just trying to enjoy the concert. So then
Right.
he had to improv the entire time. I like seeing the wheels
Yeah.
of his head, kind of.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
It's so
Yeah, no,
funny
the first
though.
hour works really well.
Like Josh Hartnett was one of those guys that when they were really pushing him in the late 90s, early
Hmm
2000s as being like the next big thing, I was
hmm
not buying any of it. But then he disappeared for a while and now he's back and he's like, turns out he's really good. I just
Oppenheimer,
think
he was great in those scenes in that.
yeah. I think he just
Yeah,
had to sort of like mature a little bit as
yeah,
an actor
I mean,
and as a
everybody was an
man.
Oppenheimer, and when I say
it's true.
everybody, I
Yeah, he's
mean
great in
everybody.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Drake Bell. Oh no, Josh Peck was an Oppenheimer.
Oh, everybody's an Oppenheimer.
yeah.
Every like white male actor in
Dude,
Hollywood is he.
freaking
Between the ages of like 25 and
dude, the
65.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid's
Right.
brother was in that movie.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, Devin Bosnick. All right, Sticking Wizard. What are some highlights you wanna talk about?
I didn't really watch that many horror movies in October either.
Mhm.
I watched Strange Darling. That was
Mm.
fun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Although I guessed where it was going after about 20 minutes or so.
Mhm.
But then the movie, to its credit, made me sort of second guess my initial guess. So I was still
Yeah.
kind of guessing, but
Mhm.
then it ultimately landed where I thought it was going. But it's
Right.
still a really fun movie, great performances. I love Kyle Gallner. I've said that many times before. I don't remember the
hmm
name
Yes.
of the lead actress,
Willa,
but she,
oh, it's yeah.
yeah,
Willa Fitzgerald, or I think it's
that
Fitzgerald.
sounds right. Or Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
It's one of those Irish
Fitzpatrick. Yeah,
names.
yeah.
So he's related to
She's
F.
really
Scott
good.
Fitzgerald?
Let's see. Not really horror, but I watched Sasquatch Sunset on a
How is
whim one
that?
day.
Oh,
I've been wanting to watch it.
It's not horror, but it's very unsettling to watch
interesting.
Okay.
for sure. And of course, Ari Aster produced it, and
Yeah.
No.
it's
It's the
directed
Zellner
by the guys
brothers.
that did like Kamiko the Treasure Hunter and stuff
Hmm
like that.
Mhm.
So it's got that weird energy to it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's great, but I'd say it's good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's see.
Cool.
I rewatched Jennifer's Body for the first time in a while.
hmm
I think I rewatch it every few years to be like to sort of puff myself up because I was one of the early champions of that movie. When it came
hmm
out, it was a big flop and it got bad reviews. And I was like, no, it's good. And so every once in a while, I'll rewatch it and remind myself, hey, I thought this was cool before it was cool.
hmm
Mhm.
So,
Head of the
but
curve.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I refuse to
And
watch
then
anything with Megan Fox because I can't stand her.
she's great in that movie, though.
You should watch Jennifer's Body.
She's really
Forget all the
good in
rest
it.
of it. Yeah. Forget all the rest of it.
Okay,
Just watch that one.
I'll just ignore Megan Fox. I'll pretend he's not even in the movie. And
Well,
for
it's kind
some
of hard to
straight
pretend she's
guys,
not in the
It would be
movie.
hard to do
She's
that. Yeah.
the title
yeah.
character.
Well, no, I was gonna say for some straight guys, that's gonna be hard.
Well, I don't know. She's really good in that movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've heard she's been good in stuff recently, but I haven't watched any of
Mhm.
it.
Same.
Um, let's see. Oh, and then on Halloween, I finally decided that I was going to watch the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Yeah, something on
Mm.
your Facebook.
Yeah, and I was skeptical going in. The only reason I watched them is because Griffin from Blank Check is a big fan.
Mm.
And he's always talking about them on that podcast. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. They're really
With
funny.
Griffin
They're
and
really funny.
David.
Like excellent visual gags. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
got sort of a zany Looney Tunes style to it.
Okay.
Uh,
Probably the second funniest fart joke in an animated movie.
I can't remember that one, but
No, it's the one where the mummy character all of his parts are chopped off, and then like his
oh,
legs
that's
and his
right.
butt walks up to the Frankenstein monster, and he
Well, no,
farts.
Frankenstein's the one that's chopped up, and he walks up to Mummy
Oh,
and
that's right.
farts, and then they come to try to like clean it up, but they throw it in the fireplace, and the fireplace like shoots out and everything.
That's right.
And
Well,
the
you want
mummy's
to know
like,
what
I didn't cause that.
you want to know what the number one funniest fart joke in an animated movie
What's the
is?
funniest one?
Finding Nemo. It's when
There's no joke
the
in that.
sharks are
Oh yeah, with
the
yeah,
bombs. Yeah, it's when
the
the sharks
bomb
are
goes
chasing
off.
them through the bomb
Mm.
Yeah.
field or the minefield, and then one of them blows up, and then it cuts the two pelicans and like the little
That is
bubbles,
funny.
like the effects, like the little bubbles, and he's like, "Dude,
Yeah.
seriously."
But yeah, I will recommend the first 3 Hotel Transylvanias. I tried
Mm.
to watch the fourth one, and it was not as good, and I didn't finish it.
Yeah. Dude, I love the part
The
when
first
he's
3 are really good. Blobby's my favorite character. Blobby's amazing.
oh really? I love the
Yeah,
part when Dracula is sees the guy watching Twilight and he's like, "This is what they think of us, seriously?"
yeah,
But yeah, I just love how they just make fun of like the Universal monsters. I think that's hilarious.
right.
Mm.
But anyways, if you're done with that, I'm gonna get to mine. I got a lot, so I'm just gonna go through them real quick.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna give a little synopsis what I thought. Peeping Tom, pretty historic, but probably won't watch it again. It was okay. It was good to watch it just
I
for
think it's better than Psycho.
well, screw you, Jackson.
Hot
Um,
take.
so I watched the Salem Lot remake. Fun movie, not nearly as good as the book. I think the miniseries does it a little bit more
Hmm.
justice.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not
the,
great.
yeah, the people under the stairs, a fun mix between a Candyman and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm.
Okay.
I
Um,
like people instance.
yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I actually showed that to my mom recently. Absolutely
That's fun.
loved it. And not even kidding, I started working at Food Carnival. Had a customer had on the Killer Clown shirt, and I told him I liked your shirt, and he actually told me his friend actually designed one of the characters from that movie,
Huh.
which is
Huh.
awesome.
That's
Wait.
cool.
So he knows the Chiodo brothers? Is that
I guess
that's crazy.
so.
Weird.
Yeah. Then I watched Final Destination 1 through 3. Really interesting movies. I surprisingly
Mm.
really liked them.
They're fun.
Yeah.
It's,
The first
it's
3 are, yeah.
I mean, they're stupid, but it's just fun to watch the sort of Rube Goldberg,
Hmm.
process by which everyone
Right.
dies.
Then I finally saw Saul X. Um,
Mm.
I never
Oh, I
thought,
watched that one too. I forgot. Yeah.
yeah, well, I've only seen the first one, and I've never thought I would feel bad for Jigsaw. 'Cause those doctors screwed him over 6 ways to
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the best one in a long while. Especially
yeah.
probably since 2.
Yeah, it made me
It's
want to
the
go back and
2
watch
or
all of
3,
them.
Six
yeah.
is really good.
Which one is 6? I don't remember. They all blur
6 is
together in
the
my
one
mind.
where it's like they're going after the like health insurance people,
Mm,
but it's got one of the best traps where like they have to like not breathe and the whole
mm,
scene plays out in complete silence.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they
Yeah.
breathe, like the thing will like slowly crush them. It's
Ugh.
pretty
Hmm.
amazing. It's a 6 is good.
Yeah, it made me
I
want
need
to
to
go back and
revisit them.
watch all of them again, or
Mm.
you know. But anyways, continuing on the diploma train, I watched on TCN hosted by Ben Mankiewicz, my boy. I watched Diploma's movie Sisters, which I thought
Mm.
Sisters
was
is good.
yeah, it was really
Sisters
good.
is good. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Margaret Kidder was really good in it.
Yeah. I
Um,
love all that split screen stuff they do early
Yeah,
on.
that's really
yeah, for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Night of the Living Dead remake from
Mm.
Tom Savini, which I
Hmm.
surprisingly really like, with how historic the
Hmm.
original is.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good like updated remake. I like what they do with the Barbara character in it. It's a
Mm.
nice little
Yeah,
twist for
and
90s.
yeah, and I
Are
like
they
the
still coming to
ending
get
more.
her?
What?
Oh yeah.
I said, are they still coming to get her in that one?
Actually, no. No one's coming to get her. It's weird.
Yeah, but I will say I
What a
like
twist.
the I like the ending in
Twist.
that. I like the ending in that one a lot more.
Hmm.
Hey, I thought they did. I mean, it's still tragic that the black character does die, but I think they expanded on it a little more to really kind
Sure.
of show how
And
savage people can be.
Tony Todd's great in it too.
Oh yeah,
Outside of Candyman role. I think
yeah.
this is before Candyman, right before.
Yeah, I think before. I don't know. I saw
So
the
in Final
host.
Destination.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I saw the host.
Oh,
Mm.
you watched the host?
Yeah, I honestly I wasn't really paying attention to it. The parts I
Oh.
did watch, I did really like. It was interesting.
Okay. You should go
Um.
back and watch it. Hulu.
Yeah. All right. And then I watched the Babadook for like the fourth time
Mm.
for the 10th anniversary because
Nice.
I had to in October because it's 10
Yeah.
years old and it's my third favorite horror
Sure.
movie. I watched the Disney horror movie. Yes, and I did say Disney and horror in the same sentence. I watched The Washer in the Woods, which was pretty good.
Mm.
I
And
saw that when I was a kid, but I don't remember
Mhm.
anything
Yeah.
about it.
Same. I get it confused with Something Wicked This Way Comes. I don't know
yeah.
what the difference is in my head.
What about
Um,
Mr. Boogedy? That was one.
oh
Oh,
yeah.
Mr. Boogedy. I remember Mr. Boogedy.
Yeah,
Scared me to death as a kid.
with John Aston.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember the title, but I know I saw it at some point when I
Yeah.
was little.
And
Hmm.
then I watched the first Omen, was not the original Omen, like the movie, the first Omen that came out this year, and I
Okay. I
surprisingly
hear
really
it's really
liked it.
good.
Yeah, it's really
It's good.
good. And
It's
now
good.
I mean this with all due respect. Because I respect women. I'm kind of glad I'm not a woman because childbirth can be horrific.
Yeah, it seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, something beautiful comes out of it a lot of the time, but
Right. But
the actual
yeah,
I don't
process,
I
know.
don't want to go through that.
Depends on the kid, I guess. But
yeah, it is Damien. It's all for you, Damien. It's all for
or
you.
it's or it's a jackal. Who knows?
Yeah. Um,
If anything, that just makes you respect women even more.
100%.
yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely. I mean that and that.
yeah.
That's what I meant by it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, my mom went through so much pain to sell this awesomeness to be in the world. But
If
anyways,
that's the word you want to use, sure.
yeah. Anyways, watch the original Day of the Dead. It's my favorite of the Dead trilogy. I know that's blasphemous. It's
Yeah, I've never
always
seen that one.
yeah, it's really good. I liked it. Captain
It's
Rose,
fun.
yeah, Captain Rose is a piece of crap. All I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He is.
I'm running this monkey farm, Frankenstein. I don't want to know what the F you're doing with my time. Then I did a double feature late one night. And this is perfect for a double feature. I watched The Witch in the Lighthouse. So I can
Mm,
Oh,
prepare for
goodness.
Nosferatu.
mm.
That's a
Um,
bleak night.
It's
yes, it
super
was.
bleak.
Honestly, I understood initially The Witch way more, but The Lighthouse I think was more entertaining. I would have actually watched that more. But
I
my
love the
mom ended up
Maybe
not
lighthouse.
in the
A
house.
Willem
lot of people
Dafoe just like
hate it.
being an old
Yeah.
salty,
Dude,
you know,
I freaking love The Lighthouse. It
sailor
was
man or
awesome.
whatever.
So
It's
good.
And then
So
pretty
freaking
good.
Robert
great.
Pattinson's rant when he's just tired of, of the foes nonsense is just like priceless. I love that so much. It's like,
Yeah, it's
you
crazy
ain't the
how they shot
president,
that movie.
you ain't my dad, and I'm tired of you acting like you is.
I just love all the stories about like Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe working together because they
Mhm.
have such
Mm.
different approaches to acting. Because Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe just like reads the script and goes and just does the thing,
Hmm.
and Robert Pattinson is this very like detailed, like
Method
serious
almost. Yeah.
where he has to like really dive into the character. And Willem Dafoe just is like, no, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, in a
We're good.
movie with farts.
Why'd you spill your beans?
Yeah, in a movie, yeah, he goes so detail oriented in a
Yeah,
movie.
talk about fart jokes.
Yeah, yeah, talk about fart jokes. And then a movie where he jerks off to mermaids.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Forgot about
I
that, but yeah, that's in
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
watched the animated movie from Warner Brothers, the Halloween tree based off the Ray Bradbury story.
Mm. I've never
Which is
actually
really
seen it. I know that I've got friends who watched a
I've
lot as
never even
kids,
heard of
but I
that.
never actually watched it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
watched it a long time ago, like when I
Hmm.
was a little kid, and I
Hmm.
got a library card, which is what how I watched some of these other movies, and I saw
Hmm.
that I'm like, oh, I haven't watched this in forever, and I really liked it. It's about
Hmm.
these kids who come across this character played voiced by Leonard Nimoy, and he kind of shows them
Okay.
like the history of Halloween based off the costume. So like one of the
Hmm.
kids is the mummy, and they go back to ancient Egypt. One of them is like a hunchback, so they go to Notre Dame and they do the whole hunchback of
Hmm.
Notre Dame thing. It's really interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty
You
cool.
say you say you got a library card. You should get on Canopy,
Yeah,
which is
I
like a
did
free
that for that
program. Oh,
reason,
good.
for because of our
Yeah,
Phantom review over at Fear of God.
it's worth it. Canopy is just a bunch of free movies. They got a lot of good stuff on there.
Yep.
It's
And
great.
then I
All you need is
watched
a library card.
yeah. Well, then I watched Night Swim. Um,
Ooh.
was a
How
lot
was
of
it?
fun. It
Okay,
was
I
something.
haven't watched it.
And you know what? They played Judas Priest in the middle of the movie.
Of course it did.
Yep. And then um, this was an interesting one because my sister is a introvert, and it's hard for her to get her to do anything with me.
Mhm.
But they were showing Hocus Pocus in the theater, and I took her to a
Mhm.
theater. Me and her. My mom wasn't there, and
Nice.
that was fun. See, it was just so fun. It's always fun to see a movie that you love, and to see the
Mhm.
smile on my sister's face during all the funny parts because he loves that movie to death.
That's fun. I haven't watched Hocus Pocus in a long while.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love that
I saw
movie.
it in theaters in like '93
Of
when I was a
course you
kid.
did. You've seen every cool movie that I wanted to see in theater, like
Oh, you
Batman.
just saw it in theaters.
Yeah, but not back then.
Oh,
I
you would have
saw it
been
for the first
3. You
time
wouldn't have
like
remembered
3 years ago.
it.
I
Yeah.
had never seen it
Yeah.
before.
And then
Mhm.
It's okay.
lastly, because I dressed up as Simon Pegg from Song of the Dead for
Yeah.
Halloween for
Mhm.
Foggoween over at the Beer God
Mhm.
podcast.
Yeah.
Um my mom did not see me in my costume. So I thought it'd be really fun if me and her watched Song of the Dead because he's never seen it, and
Mhm.
I with
Mhm.
me dressed up as the character. And so she surprisingly really liked that one too. And she normally
Oh,
doesn't
good.
like British comedies.
Hmm.
Yep, so that's everything I watched. It took me like 20 minutes to get through it because you kept talking through it.
I kept talking through it.
Dude, I wanted to get through them quickly.
You
Well,
said
yeah, but
just
you were
hit your
saying like
highlights. Yeah.
interesting titles and I wanted to comment on
Yeah.
them.
I'm just giving you
It's
a
no
hard
fun to
time.
just read a list of movies unless you get to talk about them a little bit.
Well, you
Just a
know what?
little.
It's just all right. Because we're going to get to The Last Crusade.
Okay.
Okay.
And the plot summary for Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, according to the Internet Movie Database, in 1938, after his father goes missing while pursuing the Holy Grail, Indiana Jones finds himself up against the Nazis again to stop them from attaining its powers.
About to complete a great quest, the Holy Grail, Dr. Jones.
Oh, rats.
This is it. Look, the shield is the second marker. We found it.
Indiana Jones is on the quest of a lifetime. But for some adventures, one Jones is not enough.
Dad? Junior? Don't call me that, please.
Follow me! I know the way! A race across 3 continents.
And in this sort of race, there's no silver medal for finishing second. Hang on, Dad, we're going in!
Into the homeland of the enemy.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
All right, so let's go around the room, starting with you, Jackson. What is your overall thoughts about Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade?
Well, I mean, I guess since we've never really talked about Indiana Jones on here, I'll start with that in general. Like,
Mm.
you know, I liked Star Wars as a kid, but I loved Indiana Jones. Like, that was my guy. Like, I wanted the hat and the whip, and I had a little whip that I would try to like, put on tree branches and swing. It never really worked.
That's funny.
I went as Indiana Jones for Halloween. Like that, Indiana Jones is my guy.
Mm.
And I want to say, no, I think I saw Raiders first. And then I think I saw this one second. And then I saw Temple of Doom at some point.
Mm.
This might be my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I mean, I don't know. Raiders is kind of perfect in a classical sense, but this one is just so much fun that it just hits me in a different way than Raiders does. So,
Mhm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I think it
yeah.
was supposed to be more emotional, and that's a common theme with
Yeah,
Spielberg movies. Is fathers.
right. But it's
One way or
also a
another.
reaction to Temple of Doom because that one came out and people didn't like it as much. And then Spielberg has kind of distanced himself from
Right.
it because it's so dark and
Oh,
kind of
Mhm.
it's Tarantino's
Culturally
favorite Spielberg
insensitive.
movie,
Yeah.
right.
which is weird. But
And
it
so
just
this was supposed to be more like, oh, it's another fun indie
yeah, it's a
adventure where
rough.
he fights
Yeah.
the Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Nazis.
So,
I hate these guys.
right.
But yeah, going back to Temple of Doom, I feel like that's a very Tarantino movie that he was like,
Weirdly enough, I think it's the one I've seen the most of all the
really
Indian.
interesting.
Mhm.
Because when I was a kid, I would come and like stay at my grandma's house sometimes, and she
Mm.
had a very small VHS collection, but one of them was the Temple of Doom. I don't know why. And so every time I went to her house, I would watch it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Plus,
Well,
it has a kid sidekick, and of course,
yeah.
that's the character you want to be when you're a kid. You
Mhm.
know, you want to
Well,
go on adventures
well,
with
it's
Indy.
like what the movie said. It's like the musical number at the beginning of that movie. Anything goes.
Anything goes, right?
Yeah, that kind of shocked me when I first saw that. Like, he had a whole musical number, and then he
This whole
actually made a
Berkeley
full-on
Berkeley
musical.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and then it
Yeah.
took him another, 30 years to make an actual musical.
Finally
Right.
make one, yeah.
Yep. Okay, Eric, what's your thoughts about this
Uh
movie?
about this movie in general, just I mean, I guess I'll do what
Yeah, we
Jackson
can do
did
both.
and kind of talk about Indiana Jones a little bit first. I too wanted to be Indiana
Mm.
Jones when I was a kid. I had a jump rope as a whip that did not work as well, and I found like my grandpa had like an old terrible looking fedora that was like crushed, and I wore it around a
Mm.
lot.
I
But I
bet you
loved Indiana
look
Jones.
adorable
Um,
in it.
I wouldn't say that. I think I also went as Indiana Jones for Halloween once, but I didn't have a leather jacket, which I really
Okay.
wanted. I think my cousin did, and he let me borrow it, and it was way too big. It was just like, but I felt so cool in it.
Mm.
Right.
But yeah, well, I watched all these movies a lot as a kid. These were like some of my dad's favorite movies at one point. And like there was a weird thing McDonald's did in the 90s, like the early 90s, is they would sell VHS tapes with like meals. So if you
Mm.
bought a meal, you could buy like
Yeah.
a VHS tape for like $5 or something. So
Yeah,
we ended up getting
and all
sorry,
the
go
French
ahead.
fry grease got all over the film reel or the tape.
Sure. Just made it play twice as fast. So I could watch these movies in like 20 minutes. It was great. But no, yeah, we got all these movies from like McDonald's because we're super healthy and we ate a lot of
Mm.
McDonald's when I was a kid. But I watched these movies a lot, and in particular I watched Indiana like Temple of Doom because like Jackson was saying, like I wanted to be short round. I wanted to have this. I wanted to be the sidekick when I was a kid. But I do love all three of these original movies. I won't go into the two newest ones, which completely seem unnecessary
Yeah.
compared like they literally ride into the sunset at the
Mm.
end of this movie. Like they
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah,
It's a
I
they
knew
perfect
it.
don't need
ending.
any more. Yeah, it's
But to
crazy.
be
So but
fair,
love these
I
movies.
felt the same way about the Rocky movies, where Rocky Balboa ends, at Adrian's tombstone, and he's like, "Yo, Adrian, we did it." And then, but I do love the Creed movies. I think, like,
Yeah, because that's following a different character.
right,
I
Sure.
mean, Rocky's he's in the first two,
yeah,
but it's not about him. Not
If they'd
really.
done if they'd done a short round movie where Indy kind of shows up occasionally to help him out,
mm,
I would have
Right.
watched that all day.
yeah.
I
Any day.
mean, it could still happen, I guess. I mean, Kiwi Kwan, he's a
Yeah.
star again.
Yep.
Oscar winner.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyways, my quick thoughts about Indiana Jones and this movie in particular. My first exposure to Indiana Jones was the Rugrat movie, the first one, because they do a parody of it
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
Okie Dokie Jones, because you know how the Rugrats always mispronounce things to their babies,
hmm
and so I remember Raiders
Like they're
came on.
babies?
What? The Rugrats, the babies.
I didn't realize they were
babies.
babies. I thought they were just really short.
These crazy mutants.
Yeah,
They wear diapers.
Stop Vern Troyer play Tommy.
Oh gosh.
And baby got to, baby got to.
Warwick Davis plays Chucky. Yeah.
But anyways, I remember Raiders came on TV around that time, and me and my mom sat down and watched it. And my mom was telling me that, hey, you remember the Okie Dokie Zones part of the Rugrats movie? This is what that was based off of. I'm like, oh, cool.
Mm.
And all I remember was him finding the Nazi guy and him backing up to the paint propeller and his head getting like chopped off or whatever. And then the very end with them opening the ark. I remember that.
Mm.
I don't remember like the head exploding or the face getting shrunk or anything like that. I just remember telling Marion Ravenwood to close her eye. That's all I remember from
Yeah.
that scene.
That's crazy. Yeah, those are images of their heads melting is burned in my like child mind.
Yeah, I don't know why I
Like,
don't remember. I don't know why I don't
watching it as like
remember
a
that.
6-year-old. Like, why was I allowed to watch this at that age? Crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, eventually several years later, '08, when Crystal Skull was coming out, me and my mom got all three of them from Netflix and we watched them and I
Mm.
really loved them. And then eventually I bought the Blu-ray box set and I freaking love these movies, especially this one. This is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Mm.
And I've already explained that in my Jurassic Park review when we did our top 10 Steven Spielberg movies. And I'll explain it again. My dad was a combat medic in the Navy. He was over in the Middle East, like I think Iran and Iraq.
Mhm.
And I didn't really have that big of a relationship with them earlier in my life. And now we've been going on a lot more like trips together. And it's
Mhm.
kind of like Indy's and Henry Jones's relationship in this movie. So I just really connect with this movie, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, but I just love how like the Holy Grail is the item in this movie because there's so much spiritual aspects to it. Like there's like it's bigger than any other artifact in this movie. I think the only thing that could rival the Holy Grail is maybe Atlantis. And I don't know why they didn't do Atlantis in any of the movies after this. Like
I
that
mean,
would have
they
been really
tried.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank
They
Darabont wrote a
really.
script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his was the Atlantis one.
Mm-hmm.
There have been so many Indiana Jones
Mhm.
scripts over the years. Like, it's insane.
Well, also there's been comic books and video games and
Yeah.
novels.
But I'm talking about just like unproduced like film scripts that George
Yeah.
Lucas vetoed. Like, you could
Yeah.
have like 20 Indiana Jones movies at
Mhm.
this point
I
if
want
they
to
had
see a
made
whole
all of them.
I want to see a whole cartoon of Indiana Jones. That'd be so cool.
They had a young adult TV show for a long while.
Yeah,
Do you
Yeah,
remember
Young
that?
Indiana
Yeah, like
Jones
Young Indiana
Chronicles.
Jones.
I used to
Yeah.
watch that. It was fun. I
It's
liked
great.
it as a kid.
Yeah, so here what you do, you
Mhm.
just
Probably doesn't hold up, but
yeah,
Probably not. But
yeah, you get you do the animated series and you get internet celebrity impressionist Jamie Costa to do the voice because he can do a really good Harrison Ford impression. He was the guy that did the Robin Williams.
yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
biopic.
And then it
Yeah.
got deleted.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't blame Zelda Williams. I bet that was hard for her.
Yeah. But he did it out of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get it, yeah.
Mm. But anyways, guys, you ready to get into the review after 40 minutes?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, everyone.
Now you're good. Um,
They're used to it.
Yeah.
I love the intro of this
Yeah.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just sets up so many things. It sets up his love of adventure and treasure and history. It sets up him being the daredevil. Well, it didn't set it up, but it establishes like he's always been this way. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it sets up his fear of snakes because his buddy is scared of snakes, and he's like, "It's just a snake; it's not going to hurt you." And then he falls into like the bed of snakes
Right.
on the train. I love that train chase. I think this is so much fun.
It's so
Yeah.
great. It's like great train robbery, sort of like high stakes Western.
Well, it's
Feel
funny.
to
Sort of
it
like
all.
Spielberg making a Buster Keaton movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way,
A
but
little bit.
it's
A little
funny.
bit.
Yeah, well, it's funny that this is a circus train because, according to the Fablemans, like the movie that got him in the movies was Cecil D. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth or whatever it was called.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think in real life that was the first movie he ever saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
No,
so
I
I
mean
think
all this. Sorry, go
it's
ahead.
kind of a callback to that, and I love that. And it's a movie
course.
about a father, so like it's just I don't know. I just feel like it. I mean, of course, it's not his most personal movie, but I would imagine this movie meant a lot to him.
It's his most personal Indiana Jones movie, for
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's definitely like the most lighthearted one of all of them. It's the one that's most openly comedic, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think plays a lot to its strengths and making it more of
Right.
like a heartfelt romp versus sort of like, the first one takes itself pretty seriously. Like there's not a lot of like out and out
There's some
gags.
really funny stuff in the
There's some
first
funny
one.
stuff in it,
According
but
to Sheldon
this
Cooper,
one's
according to Sheldon Cooper, Indiana Jones like probably shouldn't have been in that whole situation because like the Nazis would have opened up the arc anyways and would have died.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
it
sure.
doesn't really matter that
I
he's
mean,
there.
technically Indy could have been killed many times
Yeah.
over the course of the
Right.
movies.
But yeah, I just love that intro with the train and then when you see like because there's a thing where like Harrison Ford has a scar on his chin and you see
Right.
we got that, which is really interesting.
He hits himself
Yeah.
with the whip, and yeah.
Right.
He
It's
gets in that
funny, it's
magic box. Yeah.
like this movie takes 15 minutes and sort of effortlessly sets up all this Indiana Jones lore.
Mhm.
And then,
Mhm.
years later, you have the whole like Han Solo prequel movie, which
Mhm.
takes
Mhm.
2 hours and laboriously sets up all this lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Spielberg
that
did
movie. It was fine.
It's okay sometimes, but it's very sweaty.
Mhm.
Well,
This
guess
movie
what,
is just like,
Jackson?
okay, we're gonna pretend that all this stuff happened to him in one afternoon. And
Sum it all up real quick.
Well, you know what,
if you find
Jackson?
everything from the way he dresses
Right.
to his scar, to his fear of snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His
His
everything.
whip.
Well,
to
you know what,
everything, yeah.
Jackson? I actually met the guy that played Chewbacca in the Han Solo movie.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Jonas
Mhm.
Scomos?
Okay.
John Stamos?
I have no idea who played him in that movie. I know Peter Mayhew was the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah,
But
he was
he's
super
since
nice.
passed.
He actually
That's cool.
cursed in front of my grandma, which was pretty funny. Because he goes to sign his autograph on the picture. And he's like, "Oh, I effed this up." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
I love it. Well, I love it. I love to hear celebrities curse. Like it feels, especially like children, like people who like make really like popular. Like I used to work at a catering company and I served one of the monkeys once and I heard him say fuck and I was just like, oh my God.
Do you remember which
I
monkey
believe
it
he said that.
was?
Mickey, I think.
Okay. Mickey
I
Dolan.
think. I don't. Yeah.
Curly hair, gap teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What are you
that's Mickey
talking about?
Dolan.
Yeah.
The monkeys. Hey,
Oh.
we're the monkeys.
Okay, well, I don't care about the
Say we
monkey.
monkey around.
Well,
Hey,
Beatles
alright.
are clearly the better band.
The monkeys were a complete fabrication. They were built just.
Yeah,
to
but
sell
they were a
records.
good band.
They were
That's
great.
the thing.
Last train to Clarksville. Yeah.
I'm more of a Herman's guy. I can't. I don't know.
Herman's
Hermits.
Yeah, Hermits. But
Yeah.
anyways, and then Indiana Jones ends up getting away. Like, doesn't he get the cross of Coronado? Because that's what the artifact is. It's like this cross that's important.
Yeah, he gets it, and then it turns out that the guy that was having them dig there actually had a right to be doing that, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
gets it back.
Right.
And then it
No,
flashes forward to the boat.
Yeah. Well, let's fast forward a little bit because he ends up at his house and he tells his dad, "Hey, look, I got this really
Yeah.
cool cross that we're not going to explain what it is."
Out to 20 in Greek.
But no, I like how he's like writing in his journal, which establishes that he always was obsessed with the Grail. And you,
Yeah,
learn
and then
that-
you also get the
course.
really great Grail theme by John Williams.
Oh my god!
Mhm.
Oh my god! This is
Beautiful. Beautiful music.
This is probably top 3, Williams scores: Jurassic Park,
Mhm.
Fablemans, and this,
Okay.
and then Star Wars falls in there somewhere.
And I still like E.T., but yeah.
Well, you know what?
E.T.'s really
That's
They're
good
all
too.
good. There's no bad John Williams score.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's one. I'm sure there's a bad one out there somewhere.
Always
Something he
doubt
just
it.
kind of
I
followed
mean,
in.
maybe
And
from
he was
like
just like,
the 60s when he was still like,
Sure.
before he started working with Spielberg or whatever.
Right. But anyways, so like yeah, he's writing in his Grail and he says, there's this one line that I love, and he says, May he who illuminates this illuminate me
Yeah.
Mhm.
without seeming explained. I don't know, man. That's the thing. Like John Williams, he, I mean, it's just a cup. Is what it is. But it just so happened to be
Sure.
the last cup that Jesus Christ, the Savior of all humanity, drank out of. And
Yeah.
he put this really mysterious like score over it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Make it really important. And that I mean that's just the power and that's the role of a great composer. He just makes things important that you
Yeah.
wouldn't think would be important.
And that dialogue that you just quoted is like a beautiful setup for like a
Mhm.
payoff later. Like
Right.
after they get it and he drinks it and
Yeah.
they're about to leave and like, how do you feel? He says illuminated. And
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. I just love man. Well, that's the thing. I think it's interesting because I mean, Grail lore has always been part of the vernacular, but I really think it really made it part of the vernacular after this movie, where like everybody says, "Oh, that's my Holy Grail." Like I think every collector ever has their Holy Grail, and
Right.
mine just so happens to be Amazing Fantasy number 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. Like that is my ultimate nerdy Holy Grail.
Mm.
And I'll be lucky enough if I just in the presence of that book.
I have been in the presence of that book.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when I worked at the comic book shop, somebody brought one in one time.
Like the original copy?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's what started. Well, I mean, Fantastic Four started it all, but that's what
Right.
really
Mhm.
kicked off. Like that. I mean, that's their flagship character. I do love the library bit with the whole X
Mhm.
marks the spot. I think that's a lot of fun. And I
Yeah.
actually saw that library, like the outside of it.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really?
Yeah, when I went to
Nice.
Venice a few years ago. So
Did you try to go find the grail underneath it? Did you go down there and like break up the
yeah,
floor?
I waited until the librarian was stomping bucks. I didn't when he stomped
Such
Santa
a
Bucks.
such a
Is it actually a
silly little
library or
gag.
is it still a church?
Yeah.
I don't I think it's a library. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember my uncle pointed it out. Like that's the library from the Last Crusade.
Yeah. I just didn't know because they make up stuff because it's the
Mm,
movie.
Right.
So,
right. And then I want to talk about you guys. He's not like the most flashy villain ever, but I
Hmm.
think Walter Donovan's my favorite indie villain.
oh, he's such a weasel. Oh
Yeah,
man,
because I like how
He just
he's so sophisticated.
right.
Like he's just such a terrible person. Like
Hmm.
when he has Indy and his father at gunpoint, he's still classy. He still has that little bit of class to him.
you could tell
Walter,
he's
I knew you'd
he's a
sell
bad
your
guy.
mother for an Etruscan vase, but I didn't realize you'd sell your soul and your country to the slime of humanity.
You stood up to be counted with the enemy against everything the Grail stand for. Who gives a damn what you think? So that's one of my favorite lines to quote in that movie. I just love that so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a weasel, and then you have a really like, I mean, probably the quintessential Nazi character in any movie ever, not named Adolf Hitler. I don't know.
Yes. He does make a cameo in this movie.
Oh my God, dude! Can you imagine? I don't know if Spielberg thought of that scene, but what if he did? I can just imagine him like pitching that to like Lucas. He's like, "Hey, you know that guy from history, Adolf Hitler? He took a bunch of my ancestors and put them in a death camp, and then made him take an acid shower. Let's put him in the movie."
Okay. I'm sure it went exactly like that.
No, but I just think it's
100%.
funny that like a Jewish director put friggin' Adolf Hitler, considering
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, I'm both of these original indie movies, especially the Raiders, is really like personal to him. It is revenge film in a lot of ways. It's
Yeah.
especially Raiders. It's like getting back at the Nazis, and
Yeah, well, it's like what
they
you
are the
said,
ultimate
Eric.
villains too.
Yeah,
Like
I
no
remember
one,
you-
there are no redeeming factors to them.
Yeah, well, I remember you were telling me we were talking about Inglourious Bastards, and you're like, yeah, it's always a fun time to see Nazi get killed.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
doesn't want to see that?
Right. It's just like it's there's no redeeming qualities to them. Like they're the
Right.
ultimate villain that will never not be villains. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing about it. That's why I love the movie Jojo Rabbit because of that reason right there. That it's
Mhm.
making fun of Nazis and it's hilarious.
Right.
I mean,
sure.
yeah, they sent people to death camps, but
That movie's weird though, and I don't get off on a tangent about Jojo Rabbit, but it has the whole Sam Rockwell character
Mm,
who is revealed to
Nazi.
be sympathetic
mm.
and
Right.
is actually working against the Nazis, even though
Really?
he's
I don't remember
doing
that.
all- Yeah, that's like the twist of that character is that he
Yeah.
actually, I think he's a double agent the whole
Mm.
time, but he definitely helps JoJo at the
Right.
end of the
Mhm.
movie, and then he's killed.
Right.
Um, that movie's really, really interesting.
Yeah, well, I
It's
did.
I don't know if I
Tightrope
like it or not.
I
I
know I
can't
love that
tell.
movie. Well, the thing that I find interesting about it is, and I remember one of my favorite YouTube critics, Jeremy Yon, pointed this out in his review of that movie, where like, yeah, like these are terrible people, but you think about like their mentality, like them not liking somebody else because of a
Right.
different belief system is quite childish, and it's interesting that this movie is told through a child's point of view.
Right.
Yeah. That movie feels like an incredible short film that got stretched to an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh no, I love that movie. That movie's
I like
very
a
good.
lot of it. I
Yeah.
don't like all
Yeah.
of it though. But
Dude, I
whatever.
love the part when I think it's Stephen Merson who he's like played that government guy who finds out that Goza's family is hiding a Jew in their house,
Mhm.
and he comes to the house, and when Goza opens the door, he's like, "Oh, Hell Hitler!"
Oh, and then they all do the like doctor,
Goes
doctor,
on.
doctor,
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 doctor.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but it's not Doctor. They're saying Hell Hitler. Like, 'cause
Right.
it's so
Yes.
natural that it's like saying out loud. And
But it's
Sure.
it's just a ripoff of the doctor gag.
yeah.
It still works. It's still funny, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about that movie.
Just real quick, if I ever get to meet any of those actors that was involved in them saying Hell Hitler, I'm gonna ask them how did it feel to say that?
Just over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take 61. Let's do it
Yeah.
one more time.
Yeah, I need you to be more enthusiastic with your Hell Hitlers.
Mhm. You felt
Um,
a little flat last time.
Yeah, you're sort of a groupie of the Führer, if you will.
Anyway,
Indiana Jones.
And so during the whole library scene, Indy comes across the Guardians of the Grail, played by Frank Zappa. And
He does look a little like Frank
Yeah,
Zappa.
he does
Yeah.
look like, yeah.
Yeah.
but
I
in,
love this character. I wish he was in the whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I wish he was in it
Like,
more. Yeah.
Sort of like Oded Fair in The Mummy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, you want him to come on the adventure with them, and you know,
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it
shows
would
like
have
that,
made more
but then he
sense for him.
promptly dies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
and
yeah,
they
and-
just set him up and he disappears for like an hour and then comes back just
Right.
to die. It's, it's
Right,
kind of
well, and
weird
then-
plotting, but
Yeah, well, and there's this whole chase on the Venice River, which is awesome.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, I've actually been in those rivers. I've rode on a gondola, which is awesome.
Mm.
And then they eventually find out, no, like I'm a guardian of the Grail, and I'm here to help you. And then
Yeah.
this guy tells ask yourself, why did you seek the cup of Christ? Either for his glories or yours? And I love that because, like I said, this is my favorite artifact probably ever in any movie. Like this is probably one of my favorite plot device in any movie because it's bigger than any other artifact. Because there's a spirit, it gets into the spiritual side of the character.
In the
And
Ark
it-
of the Covenant, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, but there's not. I mean, yeah, there's like a mysticism there, but not to this level. Like they really lean in on the spiritual side of this and how.
This is true. This
Yeah.
movie goes deeper into that than Raiders did.
Yeah, kind of like the Ark of the
Mhm.
Covenant. Okay, like these are the rules that we're not supposed to break, and we're just gonna keep them in here. No, like
Right.
this is Jesus Christ, the Savior of all humanity, drank out this cup, and it's not anything that looks special. Like it's just this radial cup, but the fact that Jesus Christ drank out of it, like makes it special. And I just love how
Mhm.
they just got into that. You know,
Yeah.
like they
I
would like
mean,
the
it's
music.
no Crystal Skull, but it's fine, I guess.
Oh yeah, I don't know why everybody was so surprised by it being Alien, with all the documentaries that came out on the Sci-Fi Channel about that.
Yeah.
I knew going
Yes.
in it was going to be aliens.
Yeah.
Like, because I
Yeah.
was reading all the rumors online, and I was just like,
Inner-
oh, okay,
well,
aliens.
Interdimensional beings or whatever they decided to make
Yeah,
them.
Whatever.
and then
Yeah.
Spielberg has a
Aliens.
good
They're
track
aliens.
record of aliens. Which he's actually
Hmm.
coming out with another Alien movie. Like I think that's his next movie, which is pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm excited. But anyways, so I just think with the whole spiritual side of the Grail, I feel like it was almost meant to be. Like they were almost meant to find the Grail. Because this has been
Hmm.
going on for centuries. Like many people have been looking for this thing for centuries upon centuries. And the fact that these two guys found it, I don't know, it's just kind of special because like I feel like they needed to mend their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is a nice little twist on this movie is that basically they get rid of sort of the damsel in distress
Mm.
and they make it Indy's father. Like they switch those sort of roles.
Mm.
Right.
Which I think works really well for giving him something different from Raiders, because this is almost the exact same plot as Raiders in a lot of ways.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
some spiritual artifact that they have to go find, or the Nazis will get it and rule the world. It's
But I think
exactly the
why-
same.
I think the other reason why I love this movie, and it go back to the whole, this has been a centuries quest to find this thing.
Mhm.
Like people spent their lives trying to find this. And I just love how much of a globe-trotting adventure that this is. I just love that.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, like besides maybe like the last one, Dial of Destiny has been a globe-trotting adventure. They're always in one region of the world, or one part of the world, and
That's
all of
true.
them. Yeah, because Raiders are in Egypt. Temple, they're in China for the first part of it, but then they make their way to India, and then in
Mhm.
Crystal Skull, they're in Peru or South
Mhm.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, they're all over. They're in Italy, they're in Scotland, they're in Berlin.
They're not in Scotland. They're in Austria.
Oh,
He's just
Austria.
pretending to be Scottish,
Yeah.
which
That
is
is
really
how
funny.
Austrians
Because
say
Harrison Ford
goodbye.
cannot do accents.
Yeah, do a
Yeah.
It's
Oh
so
my god, I
bad.
love that bit when he's trying to
It's
disguise the
really
Austria.
funny.
We're come to see
And
the
then I like the
tapestry.
way the guy responds, like, if you are a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse.
We're come to see the tapestries.
The tapestries.
Yep. I love that crap.
I do love all the set pieces in this movie, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Well, real quick about that scene when he tried to disguise as the Scottish guy. I love the part. I love how they him and what's her face the Austrian girl. I love how they
Yeah, we
switched
need to talk
outfits.
about Elsa Schneider a little bit in a second.
Yes,
Yeah.
Alison Duty.
Yeah.
Wait, her last name's Duty?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It sure is.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Irish, you know.
Yep.
You know.
But what were you gonna say?
Eric.
Drew?
Oh, no, I think I said it. Anything I wanted to say.
Yeah, okay.
I
was
don't
just
know.
going
It
to talk
seemed
about
like you were leading up to something, and then
No,
you
I don't
didn't
remember.
say.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I do like that their whole disguise is let's just switch hats and coats.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they can
It's so-
do. I mean,
But I mean, it's also just like he could just have walked in with his hat. Like he didn't have to do like the ruse. I don't know. It's so broadly comedic and wonderful. I mean, it's great.
Yep. How
He could've
dare
just done
he?
it. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, and it's just it's so weird to see like grizzled like Harrison Ford do that. Like do something like that.
being silly. Yeah. I don't know. I
He's
remember.
funny. Well, cause he's funny in this movie, and I think he's more fun of Indiana Jones than Han Solo. But
Oh,
like,
for sure. Indy
but
is
his
like
humor is very
that's his character.
yeah, but his humor is very kind of dry. The fact that he get to play like broad and big.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
fun little sequence.
I remember years ago, back when I used to when I was in college and I watched Conan O'Brien every night. He had Harrison Ford on uh for something, and he was talking about like, so, you're known as being this very serious, intense actor. Would you ever do like a Fairley Brothers movie? And Harrison Ford was like, yeah, I love stupid.
Mm.
And then they started doing this little bit where Conan was like, so you would just like put a soup can on your head and go, "Bleh, yeah, 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 yeah." And then Harrison Ford started doing it.
Doing it.
He started going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Love it.
It was fun to see Harrison Ford just embrace silliness.
Completely silliness. Yeah, I love when
Yeah.
when an actor commits to the bit. Like there's
Yeah.
I've seen Conan do that with other people, and they don't quite know how to get in
Yeah,
on it.
Harrison Ford just
Yeah.
went all in. Like
Love it.
he really
I love
he
it.
seems like he's probably kind of a fun guy in real life.
Yeah.
Mr. David Blaine.
What?
Oh, there was
No.
a bit with David
Oh,
Blaine.
I've seen that. I think that's a bit.
I think it is too.
He's like,
but
get the hell on my house.
It's like when Liam Neeson does silly things,
yeah.
but he does it in that sort of like serious
Mhm.
Liam Neeson way, and it's very funny.
My name is Liam Neeson. I don't know who you are.
You ever
I
seen
don't
the
want.
thing he did on like Jimmy Kimmel where he dresses up as the Easter Bunny?
No.
No, that sounds great
Here
though.
comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity
Dude,
hoppity. Easter's on its way.
dude, my favorite
Beautiful.
Liam Neeson thing ever is Ted 2. When he goes to the grocery store that Ted works at and he buys a box of tricks and he's like, hello, I'm led to believe that tricks are exclusively for children. And he just asks Ted, it's like, I'm gonna buy these box of tricks and nobody will find me. I'm gonna take you back to my apartment. But
Oh god.
but
Anyway.
anyways, let's talk about Sean Connery in this movie because, as you know,
Yeah.
he won. Speaking of Brian De Palma, he won the Oscar for Untouchables, which he's great in. But
Mhm.
I think this is the movie he should have won the Oscar for, in my opinion, because he brings the fun of that character.
Yeah.
Sure. Of
But he has emotional heart in this movie.
course.
Like, it's
The
very
Untouchables
different.
is a showier performance, but
Yeah, well, it's different.
I don't know. I think this is pretty showy.
yeah, but it's I mean
You think
it's
about okay. If
He
you
has
think
more to
about
do.
Sean Connery, what?
He has more to do in this movie. I feel
Well, if you think about Sean Connery as an actor,
Mm,
he's kind of like in most of his movies, he's like kind of a stoic, tough guy, you know.
a sex symbol.
Yeah, in his
Yeah.
early day, well, even into his later days, he was still one.
Zardos. Yeah.
Sure, Zardos. But no, he's always like the stoic hero, or maybe he's like the anti-hero, because Bond is kind of an anti-hero in a way. But I've never seen another movie where he plays like a nerd. And he's such a nerd in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's sort of goofy, you know. He
Well-
gets his umbrella out and chases all the seagulls, and
Well, let's talk about
has
a
It
little
is a
bit
great
of,
bit.
handshake
It is a
with
great
Marcus
bit.
Brody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just kind of a
It's so
dork
good.
in this movie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
never
for
get to see
sure.
Sean Connery play a dork.
Well, let's kind of talk about the history of Indiana Jones and how it came about. Because what
Right.
happened was, apparently, I don't know if he still feels this way now, but in the early days, Spielberg, and even Lucas did not like to be part of the press for their movies, like when it
Right.
was coming
Yeah,
out.
I know this story.
Mhm.
So after E.T. came out, they both went to somewhere that had a beach.
It wasn't E.T., it was Close Encounters. 'Cause
Oh.
E.T. came out after Raiders.
Okay, so yeah, it was Close Encounters.
Yeah.
And so they went to the beach to build they're building sound castles. And then
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas was like, hey, I really like that Close Encounters movie. And Spielberg was like, I really like that Star Wars picture that you made. And then Lucas was like, well, what else do you have? And then Spielberg was like, well, I really want to do a James Bond movie, but
Right.
I only think they let British directors do them. And then Lucas was like, I got something even better for you. Indiana Jones is a callback to old.
Well, it was originally
movies.
his name was Indiana Smith,
Yes.
and Spielberg was like, "I don't like that name," and so George Lucas was like, "Well, Jones." It's
Yeah.
like, okay, that works.
India.
Yeah,
Smith.
for sure. But yeah, anyways, so that's how it came about. And then of course, year 10 years later they got Jane Bond to play Indy's father.
Right.
Mhm.
Um
Wait, were they really building sandcastles when they conceived
Yeah,
of
they
this?
they
think
went to
that-
Hawaii and they were just like
That's
chilling
nuts.
on the beach one day. Yeah.
Love it.
yeah. Yeah, well, how did you check out then? Because I think the Close Encounters came out the same year as Star Wars, and I knew George Lucas.
Yeah, they came out close to,
77.
I don't know if I can't remember if were they both 77?
Pretty
I
sure
can't remember if
77,
Close Encounters
yeah.
was 77 or 78, but
Yeah, I know George Lucas was so stressed out over Star Wars that he was
Right.
actually going to go on vacation with his then girlfriend, maybe wife. I think it was
Mhm.
I think it was Martha Lucas actually.
yeah, no, they were already married because she edited Star Wars.
Okay, yeah. So
Mhm.
anyway, they were.
Saved Star Wars.
She
Yes.
saved it. Yeah, it was gonna be
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, but no, I think they were. I think it might have been that same Hawaiian vacation, but the day before they went, they were at a burger joint, and across the street, with a movie theater showing Star Wars a day early,
Mm.
I think, or something like that.
Hmm.
From what I've heard, but I thought that was kind of cool. Cause the dude was just so dude literally had a heart attack and went to the hospital. Cause he was so stressed out over that movie.
Hmm. I believe it.
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola had a heart attack during Apocalypse Now too. They
Yeah.
kept filming. It's wild. People go through that for
well, he
for
was
their
a
art.
douchebag during that whole. That
Yeah,
whole.
he's just kind of he's just maybe a douchebag. Who
Yeah.
knows?
But and then let's just talk about the ending of this movie. The three.
We didn't talk about Elsa Snyder.
Okay, you want to talk about Elsa Snyder?
Let's talk
about
about
Elsa
Elsa
Snyder.
Snyder, the hot
Okay,
Nazi Austrian chick.
When you get into like the sort of Indiana Jones, like, female companions, if you
Mhm.
whatever you want to call them, they're sort of like the Bond girls of this series.
Sure.
Obviously Marion Ravenwood, she's the best one.
Hmm.
A lot of people hate on Willie. I can't think of the character's last name. Anyway,
I would never hate on Willie.
What?
I would never hate on Willie. I love Willie.
I love
I
Willie
think she may be
too, but
my favorite
a
part.
lot of
of
people
that
don't
movie.
like her because she's annoying, but that's the point of
Yeah,
the character.
that's
She's
the whole
supposed
point,
to be
yeah.
annoying.
Well, you know what? She
And
made the director. So
Capshaw plays that really well.
yeah.
Perfectly.
But Alison Doody as Elsa Snyder does not get a lot of flowers
Hmm.
for her
Mhm.
part. But I think she's great. She's only 22 years old when she films this.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, but she comes across as being like, in her 30s or whatever. She seems very
Mhm.
mature. She's very poised and collected and everything. And I don't understand why she didn't have a better career. Because I can't
Yeah.
think of anything else I've seen her in. But
Right.
she is like the perfect femme fatale
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
in this movie. And that's something that
Which
the
is-
Indiana Jones girls have never really been, is the femme fatale.
Before or since, really, yeah. Because before,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like Marion Ravenwood's almost a damsel in distress, and then Willie, it really is basically the damsel
Yeah.
in distress. And then,
Well-
and then this is this sort of like flipping it, where it's like
Yeah.
part villain, but she's not
Right.
quite. She's almost a love interest.
Well,
Like,
Marion
will they want they?
Ravenwood
It's great.
is kind of the damsel in distress that will get her hands dirty because he's pretty badass.
Sure.
Yeah, she
Sure. Yeah,
subverts
of course.
that. She's very capable all on her
Yeah.
own.
Yeah,
But-
my kind of woman.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really like Schneider. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like her because she's a Nazi.
Right.
But
if only
I
she
think-
wasn't a Nazi.
Because he says he doesn't believe in the swastika.
yeah, but she still helps them.
Right.
I mean,
in with the
at
Nazis.
best,
She's in
she's a
bed with them.
collaborator.
Mm.
Uh,
He's a neighbor.
there's really no excuse for it.
No.
But she really just wants to find the Grail or whatever. But
Right.
Sure.
She's
like
acts the
Belloc
wrong-
from the first from Raiders,
right.
doing it
But-
in the name of like history, but it's
I really
previous
like her
seasons.
performance in this because
Yeah.
at first she does seem like, she's on the level.
Mm,
And then when she turns, like she gets very sinister.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the finale of the movie, which we'll talk about in a second, like I don't know, I just really like her performance. She's great.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's got that like old-timey movie star quality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else did she do? I couldn't tell you one thing.
Mm.
Don't know. I don't know anything else she was in.
Right.
But yeah, she's got a nice presence on screen, which is,
Right.
always interesting for an actor.
Right.
But yeah,
Sure.
she's solid. She's completely solid in this movie. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah,
that she
well-
didn't do anything else really.
Didn't you have that bit before the fireplace gag where like you find out that she also slept with Henry Jones?
Which
Which is a nice, yeah.
has one of the funniest little bits of visual humor in the
Mhm.
whole movie where, they're back to back
Mhm.
and she says something to Indy
Yeah.
about what a wonderful
I still
time
think
it
about
was,
that
and then-
time. Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, like, wonderful. And you just see Indy like look over his shoulder in distress,
Yeah.
The
Hey, dude,
realizing
even
what
in-
has happened.
Dude, even in
Harrison
his
Ford and
old
Sean
age,
Connery's in play.
yeah,
So funny.
dude,
Yeah.
even in his old age, Connery is getting it, man.
Right.
Oh man, it's 100% the chemistry between
Yeah.
those two actors too.
Yeah.
Because it could have been any other person in those roles and it probably wouldn't have worked. But I don't know, something about like you're saying, like Sean Connery playing against type and playing a nerd,
Right.
and then Indy still being sort of the hero, but playing it a little more broad this time. I don't know.
Mhm.
Well, and he's
It
also
works a lot.
frustrated because like
Yeah,
he wants his dad's approval, but his
Right.
dad is never going to give it to him, at least not to his face.
Mhm.
right.
Like he is so nonplussed with everything that Indiana Jones does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What did you do? I can't believe what you just did. When he shoots all the Nazis, it's great.
Dude, you know what we need to do? We need to like reenact this movie in your Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. That'd be awesome. That'd be perfect, dude. We just reenact our favorite scenes and post it on YouTube. Dad, what? Dad, what?
Can I play all the other parts? I want to play Brody and Elsa.
Well, I'm not kissing
Oh,
you.
we didn't talk about Brody. Brody's
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
Brody's awesome, dude.
So
He
good.
gets to come on
That
the
speech-
adventure.
That speech that Harrison Ford gives, where they do they
Yeah.
do that pushing on him, where he's like, he'll disappear. He knows 10 languages. With
He
any
knows
luck, he
every
already
local
has.
custom. He has friends in every village from here to Sudan. He'll
Right.
disappear. And then it's like,
With any
does
luck, he's
anyone
already
here know
has the grail.
English?
Such an amazing smash cut.
Yeah, I like how Brody played the
He
bigger
got
part.
lost in his own museum.
Yeah.
Well, I like how Brody plays a bigger part. And hey, dude, we got my boy Sala in here.
Sala's
Don-
back, yeah.
Don Rhys-Davies. Give him hell, Indiana Jones. Dude, I love that
Yeah.
part in Dial Destiny when he's taking him to the airport, and then he telling him that in the middle of it, he gets cut off by a car. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I don't like the two newest indie movies, but they have
I
good
like
moments.
I think they have some parts I like. I think
Same.
There's some moments. There's some moments in all of them that are
Yeah,
great,
I
but
think I like. See, here's the thing. I like Harrison Ford's performance in Dial more. I just feel like he had more passion behind the
Mhm.
performance and the character. But I feel like because Spielberg directed Kingdom, that it felt faster to me. Cause he's the master of pace. Like you watch, like dude, like The Fabelmans. That is a 2.5 hour long movie. But like
Mm.
when it gets to like toward the end of the movie where it's like the beach scene and like, the whole homecoming scene, I'm like, oh shoot, this movie's almost over.
Yeah.
the first 30-40 minutes of Crystal Skull works pretty well. Really up until they
Yeah.
get to that sort of like there's like a burial site they have to go to, and like from then on out it's just downhill. It never
Yeah.
really kind of gets back up.
But I mean that's the thing, and also I like the artifact more in Dial Destiny. I thought that was a lot more interesting to me.
It's
It's
okay. I
Well,
think
I
we've
know
talked
you're-
about this.
Yeah, I know your
Yeah.
experiences behind it.
I really wanted the movie to end like about 5 minutes before it ended,
Mm-hmm.
and they
100%.
just ruined it.
Yeah.
And
But-
justice for Antonio because he shows up and then immediately.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. We have Indiana Jones and Zorro in the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I
For
and
a
I-
minute. For
yeah,
a minute.
and I
Yeah.
only think of him as the dad from Spy Kids because that was a big point of
Mhm.
conversation in our interview with the vampire review. Yeah, I remember Vera giving me a hard time about that.
I mean, Zorro is an incredible movie.
Yeah, I
The
need to
first
watch
one.
that
The
movie.
first one.
Yeah.
Is it Mark or Mask? The first one.
It's the Mask of Zorro. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Mask
Mark
of
of
Zorro,
Zorro
yeah.
is the old one that Batman went to see the night
That's
his parents died.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, no, the Martin Campbell one from like the late 90s.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, sweet. I totally need to watch that. Maybe the library has it. That'd be kind of cool.
They
I
probably do.
mean, if you like Indiana Jones, you'll love the
Oh, I
Mask
know I
of Zorro.
will. And plus,
It's
Yeah.
got the same kind of feel as an Indiana
yeah,
Jones.
Mhm.
and plus, it
Plus,
has,
it's also kind of like Batman.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and plus it has Captain Gina Jones.
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna watch it for that reason.
You're gonna love that sword fight.
Oh, I know. I know all about that sword fight. But anyways, let's talk about the 3 trials. Because there's 3 trials you gotta go through. You gotta kneel, and it's all based off like God, like the penitent man kneels for God.
Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
breath of God,
Yeah.
the word of God, and the path of God.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which, give me a second though. So how I got a bone to pick. How does he know that the second blade is going to come up? You know what I mean? Like,
'Cause he's
half
Indiana
a guy,
Jones,
you kneel.
smart guy.
Yeah, but like, there would have been no way for him to know that. Like, there's nothing in the text that says like,
Yeah,
roll forward or you get your legs cut off.
Right.
I don't know. How does he go into the magician box in the train at the beginning and then end up outside the train?
I know. It always bugged me when I was a kid. I was just like, how does he know?
Right. How does he know that he really loves me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I bet you didn't think that we were gonna have a Whitney Houston reference in here. And I'm sure my dad's gonna love that because he loves Whitney Houston so much.
Nothing
Music's
wrong with
great.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's surprising because my dad's like a country guy through and through. But no, I just love that, and especially my favorite part, and I think everybody can attest to this. I love the part when it's like that big cap, and then it's all about like that leap of faith. I love that so much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's
That's
all
awesome.
just painted. It's so great that it's sort of it's all still real world, even though we are still, like you were saying earlier, dealing with sort of like mysticism. But it's all these trials are very much tactile, sort of like solutions to them. Like the floor has been painted and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I also there's 2 things I really love about this sequence. One of them is it's Indy alone.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
He can't rely on his friends at this
Mm.
point because he's always got people like helping him out and doing stuff.
Yeah,
This is like
you got
he has
Dr.
to
Aldous
go
Casey in
through-
the first one helping him out.
right, but he's got to like go through all these trials by himself and figure them out by himself. But
Mhm.
there's also the other thing I love. It ties into that is it keeps cutting back to Henry Sr. lying on the floor. And it's almost
Mhm.
like there's this telepathic
Mhm.
connection between them. And he's hearing his father's voice because
Oh,
he's
yeah,
grown
'cause
up around all this Grail lore and everything.
Yeah, because at first, like that one, we have to step on the right stones with the letters on it. He
Right.
spells Jehovah wrong.
In the Hebrew,
Mhm.
in the Latin alphabet, Jehovah begins with an I. Yeah. Almost messed that
Jay?
one up. Couldn't figure out what language he said.
Yeah. Jonah, I'll take your
Yeah.
self-reliance. But yeah, I think that's really well. I think what you were saying. How did he know about the second blade? I think it's all about
Yeah,
like
that's
just having that faith. This because it's all spiritual. It's all that spiritual connection. And then he gets there, and he sees the Kmart version of Alec Guinness just standing there in his dude. I actually, when I first saw this movie, I thought that was Alec Guinness for a second as a kid.
It would make sense. I don't know. I don't know if Alec Guinness was still alive at this point.
I don't know. Apparently, Alec
I-
Guinness was a huge asshole. Like he hated playing Obi-Wan or Ben Kenobi.
I believe that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
All those British actors from that generation were pretty awful.
Yeah. Apparently, some kid came up to Guinness in a restaurant shortly after the Star Wars came out, and he asked for his autograph, and then Guinness was a total like asshole to him. I'm like, okay, it's one thing to be an asshole to your director and the crew on the set, but like for a kid who sees you as only Ben Kenobi, like that's kind of bad on you. But
He was a jerk.
anyways,
Oh well.
so Walter Donovan
Mm.
follows him in there, and he finds the Grail, and he finds the most beautiful Grail.
Well, he doesn't though. So that's the twist.
Mm.
Is that Elsa finds it for him, and so
Oh,
the question
that's right.
becomes: does she pick the wrong cup knowingly and give it to him? Which
I've
I think
always
she does.
wondered this. In the most recent viewing, it is pretty clear to me that
Yeah.
that's exactly what she's doing.
100%.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
he turns into a zombie, and he blows up and dies.
Oh yeah, and it's an amazing. It's an amazing, like sequence where is it CGI? Where his like, is it like
No,
early
it's like
CGI where his
stop
eyes-
motion
Mm,
It's crazy looking.
kind
It
of
looks
stuff.
wild.
Yeah, it's-
I love it.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. But then, and so then you had the famous line, or sort of famous line that goes into the famous line where the Grail Knight goes, "You chose Holy," and then Indy chooses
Most labored recite of that line. Yeah.
right. But
I love that actor though. I think
Yeah.
he's great.
Mhm.
You must choose wisely.
yeah,
He just got this like wonderful voice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I love that he's so old he can't hardly lift his sword anymore,
Right.
but he's still dedicated to it. It's so good.
right,
It's such just like a turn on the head where
right. Well,
in a lesser movie it would be an action sequence there where he has to defeat the knight in order to get the cup and everything.
well, that's
but
the
you don't
reason
need that.
why it fits with our show, because technically Indiana Jones is a fantasy. The fact that like all the world religions exist in this universe.
Yeah, they're all true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, there is a fantasy aspect to these movies, and there's a little bit of horror. Like there's some horror stuff that happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah. And there's a ghost in the middle of this movie. It's a ghost. It's a
Yeah.
ghost movie. but no, Indy picks like the most unconventional one, which is
Mm.
straight out of the Bible, because there's some passages in the Bible where it talked about like Jesus, even though he's the Son of God, never comes across as like self-important or like this big guy
Right.
dressed
It's a
up in
carpenter.
raffle-daffle.
Yeah.
Carpenter.
It's the most humble cup
Mhm.
Mhm.
of the whole collection.
Yeah, and I like that. I thought that was neat. And then that's when you get the classic. You chose wisely.
Mhm.
And then, man, I just love that part. And this is why Steven Spielberg's the master. He's the master of tracking shots. Nobody does it as good as he does. When Indy asks, can we take it out, beyond this point? And then the Grail Knight tells him that you can't bring it past, the seal. And he says, that is
Mhm.
the price of eternal life. And it slowly
Yeah.
pans in on his face. And then it just stands there for like a few seconds. I just, like, I know some people want to give Spielberg a hard time for being so mainstream and being like real overly sentimental, but dude's just for a reason because of this right here.
Well, he's the best at being mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason he's Spielberg, and I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to think of a good example.
Well, that's the thing
of
about Spielberg in this
who's not as
era.
good at it. You know,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Michael Bay does.
Michael Bay does his
Yeah.
own thing.
Yeah.
like,
well, that's
Michael
what I'm saying. He's
Bay-
a blockbuster
it's like if you
director.
can-
that
Yeah,
doesn't
but if you
wanna
compared
buy
like someone like Lucas to Spielberg, and Lucas does good whenever
Mhm.
like American Graffiti is amazing, Star Wars is probably good despite of him, but he never really made anything after that because he's just
Right.
probably not as good of a filmmaker in
But
all
that-
honesty.
No, I think he's a good. I think Lucas is a good-
Roland Emmerich. That's a good example.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Roland Emmerich's a good one.
But I think the thing about Lucas is, I think he's a good storyteller. He knows where he wanted to take Star Wars. He did the whole, the whole overseer of everything. He's not good at directing actors whatsoever.
No.
And I think
yeah.
it's because he's a
No.
lot less embracive than his friend Steven Spielberg,
Mhm.
who's a lot
Well-
more embracive, but he's more energetic. Like you see
Yeah.
him, like even in his old age, you see him interact with actors, and he just has a lot of life
Right.
and a love for
Mhm.
movies. And not saying that Lucas doesn't, but it's different. Like I think he's the better visual director than anything.
I think Lucas eventually just mostly became a businessman
Mhm.
Yeah.
who would make a Star Wars movie now and again.
Right.
Sell those toys. Just sell those
But that's
toys.
the thing about Spielberg of this era, not necessarily like later Spielberg, like 2010s. And I'm hoping after West Side Story and Fablemans, we're gonna get back to old school Spielberg.
I don't know.
The thing
Maybe.
about it is he can make a blockbuster movie, a cloud freezer, but
Mhm.
not half-ass it at all. Like make it really good. Like put his
Especially
soul
early.
part- Yeah.
Early
Like,
Spielberg.
you look
for
at
sure.
movies like Jaws, Raiders, E.T., Close Encounters. Like these are quality movies. Like these are considered some of the best movies ever made.
Sure. He hasn't really made, I guess, a big blockbustery crowd pleaser in a while.
Yeah, I
That
think.
was good. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
think after his last two movies,
Yeah, that's the key. Is that was good.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I
made
think-
some, but they weren't very good.
yeah, I think
Or
he's.
they're fine. They're just not like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, go
Well, I
ahead.
think he's on the comeback because I think Ready Player One, cool concept. Really enjoyed the book. It just felt like a different director that's not Steven Spielberg trying to be Steven Spielberg, and it just didn't work
Sure.
for me at all.
Sure, yeah.
No, that is my opinion on the matter.
I think to me, Spielberg has two eras. He has everything pre-Munich and then everything post-Munich. And a lot of the stuff post-Munich is not very good.
Yeah, I
But-
think he has more like 3 or 4 eras though.
I mean, you're probably right about that. But
Yeah.
those
I
are
like
those are the
Tintin.
big split for me
Tintin
at
was
least.
fun.
Hmm?
Tintin, Adventures of Tintin.
Tintin kind of feels like Ready Player One in a lot of ways, though.
I've
What?
never seen Tintin.
I only seen it once, but I remember really liking it.
It's okay,
Yeah,
but it probably been better if Peter Jackson directed it, which he was originally going to.
yeah.
He has a more flair for that sort of like crazy visual style than Spielberg does.
But
neither
anyway,
here nor there.
let's talk about my favorite part. It's when Elsa takes the Grail past the seal, and the whole temple corrodes onto itself. And then there was the earthquakes, and then Indy is about to fall into this this wreckage, because Elsa did before, and he had the Grail right there, and he
Mhm.
tells him, Indiana, let it go. And then he brings him back up. They see the Grail Knight. The Grail Knight like kind of like sticks his hand out to him. I just love that. I mean, man, that's like one of my favorite Spielberg moments of all time. I love that crap so much.
Oh man, no, that moment where he calls him Indiana for the first
Mm.
time, because he spent the entire movie calling him Junior. Like the
Mm.
entire
Junior.
movie calling him. Yeah. And he won't. He's like,
Indiana,
"It's not my
we need to
name.
talk
Call me
Indiana.
that."
And then they're like,
That's the
"Why do you keep
that's the
calling him
payoff.
Junior?"
Yeah.
Well, that's his
That's the
name,
punchline.
Henry Jones Jr.
Oh my
We named
god,
the
dude, you do
dog
like the
Indiana.
perfect Connery impression. It's amazing. Do we really need to get together and just like reenact scenes from this movie? That'd be so much fun.
Y'all could you set up your own like 2-man show, like a stage
Yep.
show, and you just reenact the entirety of Last Crusade.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's one of my probably that and like the last on the Fablemans are like my two favorite Spielberg moments. But anyways, guys, you ready if you don't have anything else to say, you want to talk about favorite part and then least favorite part?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like we
we jumped over a lot, but yeah.
Well,
We
there's a lot.
didn't
There's a lot
talk
of
about
lore.
a lot of stuff. We didn't talk about the tank chase. We
Oh,
didn't
that's
talk
a lot
chase.
of fun.
The set pieces in this movie are great. Like
Mm.
more than anything
Yeah,
else, like there's so
absolutely.
many like great little set
Well,
pieces
for a
in between
while, my
all the
two
stuff.
favorite action movies were T2 and Raiders. But like,
Mm.
I think now, like, I think Last Crusade is my second favorite action movie of all time, next to
I think
T2.
Last Crusade has better set pieces than Raiders does. I think Raiders is a better movie, but I think
Mm.
these are more fun and involved, and they're like they're bigger. Like it's
Mm.
like that
Yeah.
boat blade chopping through that boat, and like
Mhm.
they're on it. Like I don't know. There's some
I think
great
that's
stuff.
debatable, because I mean that chase scene in Raiders is pretty awesome. But as James Wolfe from Cinemassacre pointed out, like
Mm.
all those action scenes were copying like older serials
Oh
from the
yeah.
40s.
Sure, just doing it better.
Yeah,
Because they
right.
had more money and they had Spielberg.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so I'll start with you, Jackson. What is your favorite part and your least favorite part of this movie?
Um, Favorite part has to be the three trials.
Mm.
Okay.
I think it's just maybe the most magical sequence in all the Indiana Jones
Mm.
movies.
Hmm.
For the reasons I said, Indy is facing this alone, but then there's all those, cutaways to his father, and they seem to be communicating even across all this space. And the stakes are so high because, Indy didn't come to look for the Grail. He came to find his dad.
Right.
And he did. And now he's on the verge of losing his dad forever. So
Hmm. Just when he just
least
started
favorite
connecting
part.
with him. Mm.
Least favorite part is that Schneider turns out to be a Nazi. That's
Mm.
just a pity.
Yeah.
Because I really liked her up until that point.
Yeah. Plus he's
I
smoking
mean,
hot. There's that.
necessary for the story, but
But
oh well.
what about you, Eric? What's your favorite part and least favorite part?
I mean, my favorite part's probably Sean Connery. It's such like a breath of fresh air to this franchise, especially like after two was so dark and so
Mm.
racially insensitive, culturally
I
insensitive,
don't
and
really like
so
that
like
movie though.
I
I
do too,
will.
but it's
I
it's
will.
something that's like undefensible
Yeah.
sometimes. But
Well, I will say that on the special features for these movies, when they're talking about Temple of Doom, I love how Spielberg always calls Temple of Doom Raiders 2. Because that's what it was called. It wasn't
mhm,
called Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was called Raiders of the Lost Ark at the time.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sean Connery and
Yeah.
like his chemistry with not just even Harrison Ford, but like Brody as well, like all the other actors, and
Yeah.
like he gets a lot of great moments. It's again like you said, Jackson, like playing against type. I don't know, he's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes the
And
movie.
then your least favorite part.
The sequence after the opening, so you get that whole long opening with River Phoenix, and then there's this like weird little blip where we end back on that boat for
Hmm.
like maybe 2 minutes, and then it explodes, and like there's no real, I don't know, it just feels kind of tacked on and doesn't really have a payoff for it. I don't know. That whole thing just feels weird to me, but
It
that's
belongs
just a
in the
nitpick.
museum. So
Yeah.
do you. But
But
all right. I'm gonna go with my favorite part. Would have to be. I mean, like I said, I like the chemistry between Indy and his father. But
mm,
like I said, it's him telling his son to let the Grail go, and then they see the Grail Knight. I just love that so much. Like it just
yeah,
warms my heart every time. My least favorite part, I don't got one. This movie's amazing. This is
perfect
it's probably
movie.
spoiler alert for my score, but this is the perfect movie. Like I have nothing against this. I mean, it's probably little nitpicks. Every movie has them, but overall, like I don't have that. I don't have a big glaring issue that always just bugs me about this movie. So now we're on to score, and how our scoring system works is we each um do our filmmaking in the thematic score out of 5 individually, and we total those out for a possible out of 10 overall score. We take our overall score, and that becomes the official horror, sci-fi, and beyond score for the movie. And I'll start with you, Eric. What is your filmmaking score out of 5?
Uh, it's Mm, it's pretty good. Like there's a lot of stuff that works really well in here. Some of the optics haven't aged quite as well. The score is still really good. All the performances are great. It's like 4.5, four. We'll say
Four.
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 Yeah, I'll say a four.
Okay, and then what is your thematic score?
I mean, this one is probably emotionally more rich, I think, than probably Raiders is, even though Raiders may be a perfect movie in some ways. I don't know, it's probably a four. I think
Okay.
I love all the interplay between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery and all that.
Yep. So that'd be an 8.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Jackson? What is your filmmaking score?
I'm gonna have to go with a 4.5. The only reason I don't give it a 5, and this is something that I probably never would have noticed until it was pointed out to me by some
Mm.
YouTube video or whatever, is that the cinematographer for this movie, and he shot all three of the first
Mm.
Indiana Jones movie. I don't remember his name.
Mm.
He was going blind at the time.
Mm.
Mm.
And so this movie does not have quite the visual dynamics that the first two do.
Oh.
Mhm.
A little too brightly lit. Like I said, I
Yeah.
never would have noticed until somebody pointed out to me, and now I just can't unsee it. So
Right.
it gets dinged half a star just for that.
Okay. What about thematic score?
I'll give it a 4. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a really strong emotional core to it, and that's
Mhm.
because of Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, and a really good script. So
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be 8.5 for you. So I'm going to go for my filmmaking score of 5 out of 5, or 5 out of 5, just because I think it's just a fun movie, man. This is a really fun movie. Um,
Mm.
I love all the action set pieces. I think they're a lot of fun, especially the opening one.
Mhm.
The meta score, gotta go 5 again. Just because it's just so powerful. It warms your heart, man. It's truly a magical movie. And it's my
Mm.
second favorite Spielberg movie. Number one being a tie between Jurassic Park and The Fabelmans, which
Mhm.
I will always sing Fabelmans praises. I don't care what you gotta say about it, Eric. You can shut your damn dirty mouth about that movie.
I didn't say anything. Just sitting over here, sipping my tea.
Yep. And so that makes my overall score a 10. So that means the official horror, sci-fi, and beyond score for Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade is a 9.
Yeah. I
yeah,
That's
can
not
buy that.
bad. That's not bad at all.
It's pretty good. I mean, the first three indie movies, even with the second one being is what it is, are all great. Like
Mm.
all three of them visually
yeah.
and like thematically are all pretty rich. Um, the last two have not been great, but they've got
Right.
moments.
All right. Um. Yeah. So yeah, that's our review for this movie. So let's get to the next segment. Um. Let's count down our top 5 Indiana Jones movie moments, and I'll start with you, Eric. What is your top 5?
Okay, you want me to roll through all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, number 5 is the opening to this movie, and it's
Okay.
just amazing. The River Phoenix bit.
Mm.
Number 4 is the mine car chase from Temple of Doom
Yes.
because it's so great. There's so many like miniatures in that you never even really notice until you start like pausing it. It's good. Number 3, is something that I hated as a kid that I've grown to kind of love as an adult is like Indy deciding not to blow up the ark near the end of
Mm.
Raiders, and it's such like a moral like gray area that he's like having to go through in that moment. I don't know. I think Harrison Ford does a pretty good job in it, and like it's a nice moment for a movie that's otherwise pretty broad. Um,
Right.
it colors him in a different shade.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 2 is the one in this movie that we've talked about pretty extensively is the Indiana moment whenever Sean Connery's pulling Harrison Ford up from the Grail.
Mm-hmm.
And he says Indiana to him. Like that's like that turn and the music drops out and everything for a minute, like the sound goes away. It's a great moment. And then my number 1, and it's a weird one, but I'll explain it. Is when it's at the beginning of Raiders, and Indiana Jones has gone through this entire trial of trying to get this statue, and like he's brushed off like spiders, he's like made it over pits, he's done all these death-defying stunts, and then the snake is in the plane and it scares him to death, and he hates snakes. And it's such a wonderful character reveal for like this person who appears to be have it all together and be such like a world traveler and like the 80s sort of macho man, can do anything, that it's such a nice like humanizing moment and really just sets the tone for that movie, I think, in a lot
That's
of
a
ways.
version of
and
that
for that character.
macho
Yeah.
80s.
Do what?
That was a version of that macho 80s hero.
Sure.
Yeah, that kind of John Wayne kind of thing.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, no. So like the 70s and 80s were like a slew of just like macho heavy masculinity, and so like this sort of like man who cares about history and art and is afraid of snakes is very humanizing, and like it's really I don't know, it's a thoughtful touch that I love. That's
All
it.
right.
That's my top 5.
Well, you, Jackson, what is your top 5?
Okay, so I forgot to prepare for this bit.
Of course you did.
So I'm gonna just go off the top of my head, and I'm not gonna pick any like big action sequences or anything. I'm gonna go straight for just character moments. So I'm gonna say number 5 is Indy and Short Round playing cards in Temple of Doom, and Short Round keeps accusing him of cheating. All the while, Willie is running around encountering all these jungle animals and screaming her head off.
No time for that, Dr. Jones.
Yeah, it's very funny.
And
Okay.
Short Round's been cheating the whole time. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Marion's introduction in Raiders.
Nice.
Where she's in the bar and having the drinking contest, and across from her is this like really big dude, and she's just drinking him under the table. Guy falls over, she slams the glass down on the top. Super cool. Love Marion. Okay, number 3. Let me think for a second. Oh, shoot. Number 3, I'm going to go with the very random Dan Aykroyd cameo in Temple of Doom, where you wouldn't even know it was him except for his voice, because he's never even given a close-up. He's just sort of like escorting them to the plane and saying a bunch of stuff, and he's just there. There's no reason for him to be there.
It's got a strange mustache of all things too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Number 2. I have to go with in Last Crusade, the little speech that Henry Jones Sr. gives while they're in the motorcycle. He's like, the search for the Grail is not archaeology. It's a race against evil, And the Grail theme is playing. It's very beautiful. And then number 1, I got to go with in Raiders, where Indy shoots the sword guy.
Yeah, all because Harrison Ford was sick that day.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not
They just
doing
wanted
that
to leave
today.
earlier. Yeah.
Let me just
What if we just
guy.
shot him? Yeah.
And it's like just perfect comedy. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That's my top 5.
Andy thought first. But my number 5 would have to be the X mark the spot bit from Last Crusade.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be Last Crusade and Raiders. I'm sorry. Number 4 is gonna be the Nazi muscle man getting his head torn off by the paint propeller. Number 3 is gonna be the train chase from the Last Crusade, because I think this is so much fun. That's my favorite action scene from this series. And then the train scene from Dial reminded me of this scene a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Number 2 is Indy shooting first. And then number 1, like I said, is Dr. Jones telling Indy to let the Holy Grail go. That's just beautiful, right there, and it gets me every single time. All right, guys. So that's been our last Crusade review. That was a lot of fun. We got to do something a little bit different. It's still kind of fantasy.
Yeah, it's fantasy. I'd say it's fantasy.
I mean, it's not kind of fantasy. They meet, 400
An immortal
year old
knight, yeah.
or whatever. No, more than 400 years old, I guess. I don't know.
Or
Yeah,
I
1,000
can't remember.
years old?
It is old.
Not quite 1,000. Several hundred
Hmm.
years old.
But anyways, guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more action-packed and adventurous content, make sure you get that subscribe button whip cracked. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter X, and Spotify at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And don't forget to leave this episode a big muscle Nazi guy size thumbs up. And a snake-bitingly awesome comment, because I could have think of another Indiana Jones thing for that. And as always, guys, stay weird.